Hey everyone, welcome to Embers of Growth Holistic Health and Transformation. I'm Rochelle and I'm back here today to talk to you guys about the energetics of food and how shifting our diet and the things that we do with the foods that we consume have, what impact they have on our health. So, a lot of things that I have discovered through journeying with food myself is, I'm going to say this one thing is there is no right way and wrong way to do something. Like, everyone's individual body is so unique. And so when I work with people and when I talk with people about their issues with food or with their diet or exercise or things like that, mainly when I focus on the nutrition side of things, while I'm not a naturopath, I do focus on elements of understanding how we can work with our diet and introducing whole foods and really looking at what it is that's uniquely right for your individual self, essentially. So there's so many different diets that we can choose to do based on what our individual self needs. So I guess tuning into what the individual needs is a big thing. But from my own journey, I've sort of discovered that from knowing intuitively how to eat food and to really intuitively know how to work with our bodies as opposed to against our bodies, it really comes down to the element of what we want to do in terms of what works best. So yeah, in the initial stages of trying to navigate nutrition and health, we will have sort of imposter syndrome, or we'll have, elements of people doubting our ability to sort of work through that journey. Yeah, and there's going to be people that kind of try and stop you or doubt your progress or your ability to change or your ability to know the information or know how to move through the challenges that you may face on your journey. And so I guess what I'm trying to get at is there's so many components to our health, and especially components to our food. And one of the things that I've really delved deeply into on my own personal journey, and also just witnessing other people's relationship to food and information around food, is, while we can say there's a diet that could specifically work for someone, I feel like the diet culture is just really bogus. Like, yes, it's good to stick to a specific way of eating when you're trying to change something or transform something from one way of eating to another. But so many people get caught up in the next fad diet, this, that, and it's not sustainable. So the things that we can look at is really just taking a step back, taking a breath, and just really knowing and tuning into the self and kind of asking yourself and your body each time you eat a food, or you're even preparing food, how the energetics of that is being consumed. And food is just another thing that we consume, just like the media that we consume, the things that we read, the things that we hear, the things that we see. They're all a way of consumption. And food is such an important component because it's what nourishes our body from the inside out. And it really can affect our mental, emotional, physical health. And some of the things that I noticed in shifting my own personal diet was, the change from brain fog to clear of mind, the change from, understanding how gluten and things like that affected my body. And everyone's body is going to be different, but I've had a certain set of allergies that I've had to change my whole diet in order to make it a healthier way of eating and living. And so now the way I eat is very clean. But then there's elements of still joy in the food that I eat. So there is no any one way of for some people to eat. It's just based on what does that individual need. So in integrative health coaching, what we do is we essentially sit down and we go through a health history and we sort of understand what it is that you're trying to work on, what things that you feel are best supportive of your journey, and sort of understanding what health ailments you may particularly have had, or things that we can work on, whether it's what you're consuming nutrition-wise or increasing exercise or things like that. So it's working with the whole person. So we do talk about understanding how the foods affect our body. And look, I think the best way that I've learned personally is intuitive eating is one of the most in tune ways to consume food and understand how we work with our energy and with the energy of our food. So the things that are coming through for me and I feel like is important to say is everything that comes within our body is so sacred and so, are we consuming that consciously? And I'm not talking about you have to go vegetarian, you have to go vegan and this and that and the other. There is so much judgment between the meat and the vegetarian and the war between all of that. And the thing I would say is, 1, focus on yourself, and 2, unless obviously you're going to a coach to work on this stuff, but focus on yourself and what's correct for you in your journey, because that is the most important way to navigate the diet culture and all of the hearsay and this, that, and the other. This worked for me, so blah, 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 blah. So I have a whole library of different diets and things that could work for clients. But the thing is, really showing up and really understanding our relationship to food is important, and really knowing what makes us feel healthy and what makes us feel ill. So some of the things I learned on my journey was the foods that made me feel ill, like sick, or I'd feel like brain fog, particularly with processed foods. So eliminating processed foods would be the first thing that I would recommend to anyone. And you'll notice in the shopping center, all the healthy foods that we require or that we need are most likely on the outside of the shopping center, and all in the middle aisles of the shopping center is processed foods, things that we don't quite need, or things that our body can do without. So when we come back to the elements of understanding our meat intake, our vegetable intake, they're the main priorities that are important. And then obviously you can add your grains and things in as well if that suits you for your specific diet. So that's just a kind of little quick tidbit of when you look at the supermarket and you kind of look at, the meat is on the outside if you choose to eat meat, and the vegetables and all the main, going back to the core diet that we had as humans. Essentially they say the caveman or something, how our bodies were designed to consume food. And then over time, we've had, more and more processed foods sort of come into the space. And our bodies, especially if you're a sensitive, at times you will notice that specifically, those foods will interact with your body in a more increased way, as opposed to someone who might have a stronger stomach or a stronger ability to break down those foods. And also, one of the things I like to look at with people is also their energy type. So looking at the energy type of a person can also kind of indicate an ability of whether they're more of a sensitive gut health person, as opposed to someone who might have a bit of a stronger energy type, which would be able to break down the foods a lot easier. So I mean, I haven't proven this theory yet, but only just through my observation through my own diet, people in my family and how they break down food, and how different people around me break down food and their energy types. So it's kind of like something that I'm integrating into the process of looking at the health history, looking at the diets that people want to go on, and that are gonna, or not so much diets, but the way of eating, the lifestyle way of eating that they want to integrate into their life that suits them as an individual, as opposed to what the latest diet is that's everyone's doing, which I never believed in that because, well, maybe as a younger teenager, I might have bought into that stuff. But as an adult and learning more and more intuitively how to eat for my own individual body, I discovered that, that is kind of bogus, that sort of stuff. I'm not saying that ways of eating are bad. It's just people going on diet fads that last, so many weeks, and then they don't, sort of keep that as a lifestyle habit. That then becomes just something that someone loses a lot of weight, and then they kind of put it back on, or they have issues, or they have the doubt and the self-conscious and self-worth sort of things wrapped up in that, and they place their value on their ability to perform in their diet. And as someone with a history of bad relationship to food, and then having a good relationship to food and diet and exercise and all of that, I totally understand. Like, in my teenage years, I went through really bad ways of relating to food and body image and all of those things. And I'm happy to share that with clients and things along the way. But it's really brought me to understanding how the body works, and how reintegrating foods into the body that are healthy, that are important for the nutrients of the body, is so key. And I just want to help more and more people sort of see that the things that we pour into our body is so important, but also to be understood that there's no judgment ever around diet and like exercise, and that, there's just, I'm getting emotional right now because I feel like someone needs to hear this, but it's really just really loving yourself, and just, tuning into your body and really trusting that process, and to know that, people hear you and understand the journey that you're going on. And I'm so sorry for anyone that's been through, body image issues, or that have been through that, continuous cycle of diet. It's like, yeah, I'm here and I'm going to show you and guide you ways on how to work with your diet. But I guess what it really is about asking yourself and asking your own body, and really getting clear about what's correct for you, what's correct for your life. And yeah, I just want people to know more of this stuff. And so I would recommend, the first thing, cutting out processed foods, and then just really we start introducing the whole foods back into our life, back into our body, and then slowly, like, all the foods that you may still crave and you're still having little bits of, it's okay to have those things. It's just we eliminate things, and then we sort of bring it back in and really start nourishing and putting in the foods that are beautifully, like, just allowing your body to work in the best way possible. And by elevating our nutrition within our body, we can elevate our energetics over time, and delve more into ways that we can love our body even more. So yeah, I think the only other messages I have today, and this is really not like super structured. I feel like sometimes I just speak in the moment, and then whatever resonates, take it, whatever doesn't, that's totally fine. But yeah, I'm Rochelle from Embers of Growth Holistic Health and Counselling. Holistic Health and Transformation. I do counselling and coaching. I prefer to call myself a coach. And also just, I do work intuitively. I have learned holistic ways of working with people, and just I do tune in and see more from an energetic side as well with things. So yeah, if you feel called to work with me, or this information was helpful to you, or you want to know more, jump over to my website. I'll link that in the description below. And yeah, I'm not here to, majorly sell myself. I'm here to serve people and, like to help support people's journey. And if I resonate, my energy resonates, what I'm sharing with you here today resonates, then, I'm happy to support anyone that needs that guidance right now. So yeah, thank you so much for coming, and I hope that something has been of value to you today, and I wish you love, light, healing, and compassion. Thank you so much. Thanks. Bye.